So a few months ago, I drove the all-new 2023 Kia Niro. That one was the standard hybrid version. Now what we have here is the plug-in hybrid version. I'll say if you didn't see the last review of the hybrid, it's worth checking out. I did come away with that saying I really enjoyed the vehicle. I like the Niro, but I did want to drive this, the plug-in hybrid, because I think it just adds an extra element of everything that makes the Niro great. So let's dive into it. All right, before we dive too deeply, if you have no idea, the Niro comes in a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, and a full EV. So now I've driven the hybrid and plug-in hybrid. I'd love to drive the EV as well. The hybrid comes in a slew of different trims with a lot of different options. The plug-in hybrid comes in 2 trims. You have the EX at the base and the SX Touring at the top of the line. This is the SX Touring plug-in hybrid. All right, so diving into this one, the SX Touring plug-in hybrid, we're gonna start off talking about the exterior design. Again, this is an all-new design for the Niro. We covered it in our last Niro review, so there's not much different in the exterior from the hybrid to the plug-in hybrid, except for you do get a door for the charger on the front driver's side fender. The color here is mineral blue with the black C-pillar trim. You also have gloss black accents around the vehicle. And again, I said it in the last review, but I really do like this whole new look that it has. That black blade on the C-pillar looks really cool, and got a lot of questions, got a lot of people looking at the vehicle, wanting to know what it is. Up front, we have the extended tiger face design that goes from the hood to the fender. You get that big open grille up front, full LED projector headlights, LED fog lights. Our side mirrors are body color with gloss black, and they are power folding. They do have the integrated turn signal. We do have gloss black roof rails that show off some of the utility and capability of the Niro. Our wheels here are upgraded from 16-inch wheels to 18-inch alloy wheels. Really nice design. You don't really need anything too fancy on a vehicle like this, but I think they look really good. Moving around the back, you do have the C-pillar integrated with boomerang shaped LED rear combination lamps. They might be trying to rival Cadillac for the largest tail light. You also have the Niro badge, the Kia badge back there, and the PHEV badge, which stands for plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. The standard hybrid is just HEV, hybrid electric vehicle. And before we open up that hatch and check out the cargo volume, let's first talk about the full dimensions of the exterior here. We have a total length of 174 inches, a wheelbase of 107.1 inches, a total width of 71.9 inches, and a height of 60.8 inches. We also have a ground clearance of 6.3 inches. All those stats are exactly the same as the standard hybrid. All right, and with that, let's get the hatch open and check out the cargo volume. It is a power lifting rear hatch, so there's just a button back there you can tap, power lifts, and you do get a good amount of cargo volume back here. You do sacrifice some cargo volume because they use some of that for the batteries for the plug-in EV part of the hybrid EV. So the hybrid has 22.8 cubic feet of cargo volume there, while this one has 19.4. You can fold that second row down and get 54.6 cubic feet here, where it's 63.7 in the hybrid. So again, you're sacrificing a bit of cargo volume getting the plug-in hybrid, but it might be a trade-off you're willing to do. It's still a lot of cargo volume to deal with. Before we move on to the interior, let's go ahead and check out what's under the hood. The full power plant that makes this the plug-in hybrid EV. All right, so let's touch on the engine really quickly. It's basically the same setup as the hybrid that we drove before. It's still the 1.6 liter engine, except this one can get energy from the batteries that are packed in that get charged from the plug-in hybrid part of the equation. This does give you more horsepower with 180 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. The plug-in hybrid powertrain lets you switch between the gas engine and all-electric motor. You have a 11.1 kilowatt-hour battery for longer trips without the need to charge. 33 miles of all-electric range. 510 miles of total driving range. And Kia says that the center of gravity in this over the hybrid is lower, so it has a bit better handling performance for what that's worth. With that, let's close up the hood, move into the interior. We're gonna skip out on the rear seats. We did check them out in the last one, but again, nothing's changed there. We're gonna check out the interior and tech in here from the driver perspective, and then we're gonna take it for a drive. All right, here in the driver's seat, we're gonna go through all the technology. Again, we're not gonna really jump in the back seat of this one. It does have a good back seat. I talked about it in the last review. It is class leading interior volume, so that's obviously really good. We had the kids 3 wide in the back here during the week, and they had no issues. Again, if you're really wanting to dig into the rear seats, go check out my other review. But this one, we're gonna start with the interior of this, starting with kicking it on because it's a bit warm. It is push button start. And of course, the first thing you might notice is the 10.25-inch touchscreen display with navigation, Kia's infotainment system, all really nice. We've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, hooked up to a Harman Kardon premium audio system, all very much the same as the last Niro we drove. Very much the same as a lot of Kia products these days. Really good overall. But before we dive into more tech, I wanted to take a look at the interior of this thing. So the interior is a charcoal interior with cloth and Syntax seating material. So this is a really nice material, leather-like, perforated, really good quality, feels good. These are heated seats, cooled seats. We've got a heated steering wheel. We've got a nice mesh material up here on the dash. That looks a lot better than the standard just flat plastic. You've got gloss black in a lot of other places, but we've also got these little LED strips that light up back here, which are subtle but look good. Back to our infotainment screen. Just below that is our air vents, hazard lights, and then this multi-function display down here. Again, this is very similar to a lot of Kias that we've driven lately. We have our volume control, a lot of your audio controls, a quick button for your navigation, but you can also toggle here. And now this is all your AC and heat controls, and these knobs are your temperature controls. I really do like this screen, and the more I've driven the Kias with it, the easier it is to use. Just a very efficient use of space, which I enjoy. Moving down further, we do have a USB Type A and USB Type C. This one is charging only. This one interfaces with the infotainment system. You also have a 12-volt power accessory plug, and we also have a wireless phone charger, so you can hook up your phone wirelessly and charge it wirelessly if needed. Coming further back, again, you got push button start, heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel, an auto hold button, an EV button to be in EV mode only, your gear shifter, which is just a twist of a knob, reverse. We've got a backup camera, no 360 camera, but we do have parking sensors, as you can see. You can turn off the parking sensors if needed, and you can pull up that camera with just the touch of a button here if needed. Back a bit more, you have cubby and cup holders, and these are adjustable cup holders with the push of a button. Always cool. And console here with some nice cubby space, nice padded armrest. And then of course you have the steering wheel with a lot of your function buttons on there as well. Paddle shifters back here and a drive mode button down here. Drive modes include an Eco and a Sport, which you can see here on the full LCD driver information display. So it does change as you change drive modes. You can toggle through different pages here from a push of the button on the steering wheel, just depending on exactly what you're wanting to see. And to the left of the steering wheel, we do have the light dimming, the hatch pop the door for your fuel. Not actually sure what this button even does, but if you guys know, leave it in the comments. And then of course the traction control off button. And finally, we do have a sunroof here. No panoramic roof or anything like that, which is just fine. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get this thing out on the road. All right, guys, put it into gear and take off. Our battery isn't charged up enough to be in full EV mode. We'll make that happen though. But it is still a pretty quiet ride. There's not a lot of road noise. You do get some here, but not a lot. It's a really comfortable ride. The chassis and platform are just the right size where you're not getting a lot of extra bumpiness in this thing. For an even smoother ride, you could probably stick with the 16-inch wheels and a bit larger of tire, but these are more sporty. Speaking of sporty, we can hit it into sport mode. This does have more horsepower than the standard hybrid, so if you lay on it, it gets up and goes. But quite frankly, I left it in eco all week that I'm driving this thing, and it's been just fine. And the hybrid that we drove before was just fine. So if you're buying this specifically for the power, you don't need to. As far as the driving position goes, it's really good. Super comfortable to drive, even long distances. Everything is easy to touch, easy to control. Again, that multi-function screen down here, super easy to touch and figure out even as you're driving. You've got almost all the controls that you need right here on the steering wheel as well. Plenty of information on the driver information screen. No head-up display in this vehicle. Would like to see it, but it would probably just add costs that's not really needed. And what this thing is really about is that fuel economy. With an impressive 48 miles per gallon in the hybrid mode and a remarkable 108 miles per gallon E in the Niro plug-in hybrid, this thing sets the standard for fuel efficiency. And like I mentioned, the all-electric driving range does hit 33 miles, which is definitely an enticing layer of versatility, allowing for eco-friendly urban driving without compromise. And of course, you also have things like radar-guided cruise control, lane keeping assist, all things that Kia does really well in all of their vehicles. And if you're on road trips or anything like that, definitely things worth having, as they just add to the experience of having a new, modern, tech-friendly vehicle. And there might not be anything that really just stands out as amazing with the Niro. It's a pretty bland vehicle, even though you get a lot with it. But I think that's kind of the point. It doesn't really have anything that you're gonna wanna go run and tell all your friends or show off to the family, but it also doesn't have anything that I can really nitpick on to say that it's bad either. And that's sometimes a hard balance. But for a commuter car that's eco-friendly, looks decent, has good technology, I think that's the best you can ask for. If you want more flashy, Kia definitely does that as well. The EV6 is definitely more flashy. If you want more sporty, you can go full gas and get the Stinger. If you want larger, you've got the Sorento, the Carnival, the Telluride. But this is definitely a good mix. I like the size of vehicle, I like the driving, I like the tech. And again, the looks are really good as well. And it doesn't really matter where you're driving this thing, if it's on a country road, in the suburbs, or in the downtown city environment. It does really well. It's not too small to be out in the country. It's not too large to be in the middle of the city. You get good fuel economy whether you're toting kids around in the suburbs or making long trips on the highway or traversing city streets downtown. It's a really good all-around vehicle, helped out a lot by its plug-in hybrid powertrain. So I think it's a well-rounded vehicle. What about the price? Well, let's pull back over. We'll talk about the price of this thing, and then we'll talk about some of my final thoughts and what I think I would choose, and we'll wrap it up there. All right, and after that fun time, let's go ahead and talk about the price real quick. Then we'll jump out and talk about some of the final thoughts on the Niro. So the base price for a hybrid Niro was $26,000, which I think is really good. The EX plug-in hybrid, which is the base plug-in hybrid, starts at $33,840. The SX Touring, which is what we're in, starts at $39,590, and our tester here with just a few options has a full MSRP of $41,000. So again, I think the prices are pretty good. $41,000 for what you get here is all gonna depend on what you're looking for out of a vehicle. Spending $41,000 on a vehicle these days is not hard. So let's go ahead and jump out and I'll tell you some of my final thoughts on this, the Niro, if I recommend it, which trim or which version I would recommend. But let's jump out and get that done right now. All right, so if you're sold on the Niro and you're stuck comparing the standard hybrid versus the plug-in hybrid, the only thing that you're sacrificing besides price is the cargo volume, which I don't think is a big deal breaker because it still has a pretty good amount of cargo volume. For me personally, I would definitely opt for the plug-in hybrid if you had the extra cash, the extra economy that you get out of it, and the fact that it does pure EV for 33 miles is just almost a game changer. Not a game changer for the industry, but a game changer for the specific vehicle. Again, I'd love to drive the full EV, and if you don't want the hassle of getting gas at all, but you're okay with the hassle of always keeping it charged and you don't drive as many miles, the EV could be definitely a good option. Again, would love to drive it. I also think that $26K for the standard hybrid is a really great option if you're looking at the Niro. And again, just like I concluded in the last review, I do think the Niro is a really good platform. A good size of vehicle, has great technology, has a really nice interior. I do like the styling for what it is, so you can take that for what you will. What I do hope you take is time to subscribe to the channel if you're into automotive reviews. Hit the thumbs up button on this video if you did enjoy it. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think about the Niro, especially the hybrid versus plug-in hybrid versus EV. Also go check out TXGARAGE.com for more written reviews as well as event and news coverage over there by a lot of great authors, not just myself. But with that, we're done with this one. Thanks for watching.